Hello and welcome to Friday's Masterclass edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm going to attempt to solve today's Times cryptic crossword for you live on screen. This puzzle has quite a high SNITCH rating, about 128, which makes it certainly one of the hardest puzzles in the last month. And what else did I want to mention before we just get cracking? There are a couple of things. We have, if you'll forgive me, we do have a Kickstarter running at the moment to create a perfect puzzle gift. So if you know somebody who enjoys puzzles, this Fog of War, which is sort of a story interlaced with Fog of War Sudokus, is something we'd ask you to check out. And over on our Patreon, we also have Mark's monthly solve of the Times Club Monthly Special, which is a treat for those of you who enjoy, I think, this sort of video. But certainly, even if you're a total expert on solving cryptic crosswords, that video is, I watch it every month because I find it fascinating to watch. Well, in my opinion, the best cryptic crossword solver of all time solve a puzzle that difficult without using a dictionary. It really is it's very impressive and a little humbling. But anyway, let's see if little old me, can I do the Times cryptic today? Let's get cracking. Hopefully it's in the right place on the screen. Now, I'm thinking daughter-in-law for one across, and I have to confess I have not read anything here apart from I've seen the word relative and I've seen the enumeration as 823. If it's not daughter-in-law, it is daughter-in-law. It looks like it's an anagram of daughter-in-law. What? Oh yeah, okay. I was wondering where the W was coming from. I can now see it. So this is an anagram because the letters of naughtier lad are cavorting, so they're sort of playing around, which is typically something that one would associate with anagramming. And then with, a valid abbreviation for the word with is a W. Now, actually, I do this every week, but I'm going to start with it this week. Let's go to W, because you can't just abbreviate anything. It has to be supported by the dictionary. Let's see if we can find with. W, there it is, with. And that is why this W in daughter-in-law is allowed. Well, it's why this with can be that W, which is what we need after we've got the first, however many letters it is, 12 letters sorted out. Right, so let's try that one. I mean, that's by far the best letter. I mean, if we can't solve this, it's going to be poor. Scottish couple. Okay, this is interesting. I do think I know this, but I didn't know it. Well, I've been to Thailand in my life, and I remember the temples there were called Wats, W-A-T, which I guess might be another word for a monastery, therefore. And I can see that a Scottish couple, well, the Scottish word for a couple is twa, as in, it's not like as in never the twain, but that's sort of got a similar root. So TWA, I think, is a Scottish word for a couple. And if that word cycles, so we can sort of imagine the first letter goes to the end, and then, you know, the next cycle would move each letter one sequential place in the word. You can see how we can construct what. So I'm not going to change that answer, but why don't we actually check the dictionary for it now? So if it's wrong, I'm going to get the puzzle wrong. What? There we go. Oh, Thai. It actually is a Thai temple, and it then says monastery. Okay, and let's check TWA. Twa, Scots form of two, twafold. That's a comedy word. Okay, so that was a useful letter, but it's got us not a very useful T, I suspect. Let's try one down. You dig up from the past, possibly evidence of something dull. Ooh. Okay, so this is a sort of clue that I find slightly disturbing, in the sense that I read it and I haven't got a clue what it's referring. I don't know at this point which side of the clue is the definition. I mean, it's either going to be you dig up from the past. Somebody who digs things up from the past would be like an archaeologist or a paleontologist, or I don't know, or possibly evidence of something dull. Ugh. What would evidence something dull? A yawn. I really don't know what that's talking about. Let's try two down. Okay. So this relies on you knowing a synonym for the BBC. Now, the BBC is sometimes referred to as auntie. If you don't know that, this clue would be nigh on impossible. So we're looking for BBC auntie. What is the word auntie after the 1st of August, after the first letter? Therefore, the 1st of August is the letter A. So if we take the word auntie after the A, we just get untie. If we say that, we can say untie, and if you freeze something, you untie it. We get another T in a checking position, and then E, just as useless. Let's try 3 down. Maybe simple appellation horse. One's going to charge Yankee. Yankee, I mean, Yankee, obviously, it could refer to an American, but most often it doesn't. Most often it's the international code word for the letter Y. So if we look up Yankee in the dictionary, you will see, hopefully, is it? Okay, maybe. Oh, here we go. So it's a second. The international radio communication, a code word for the letter Y. So I'm expecting this word to end in Y, and that also gives us a clue as to what the definition is. So the definition is it's got to be the other end of the clue if this does represent a Y. So maybe simple appellation horse. I'm wondering about maybe simple. I think simple is a type of, I want to say herb. Is that total nonsense? If I wasn't doing this on camera, I would just be thinking of herbs here. Appellation horse, one's going to charge. Maybe simple. I don't know. I don't think I know any synonyms for an appellation horse. Or, I mean, horse can be H. So maybe simple appellation. Ugh. Hillbilly. Ah, it is. It's hillbilly. Good grief. Okay, I don't think that's very easy. Okay, so we can see I sort of lucked into that. I thought horse might be H. I thought Yankee might be Y. So I was sort of thinking of words that had H at the start and Y at the end. And then I was thinking of, okay, what might you refer to? Well, what were they called? The Beverly Hillbillies. They were sort of simple people in America, weren't they? But how does the middle work? Ill Bill, not Kill Bill. Oh, what an opportunity that would have been to use Kill Bill in the middle of hillbilly. But no, the constructors used one's going to charge as I'll bill, because if I was to say I'm going to invoice you, you might say I'll bill you. So one's going to charge, I'll bill. In HY gives hillbilly. Now that is, this looks like La Traviata, or no, it's not long enough. Oh no, it's not that one we had the other week, is it? Oh no, I can't remember what it was. No, that was different. I think that was I something. Latvia must be the East European state. So artist in East European state, volunteers. Okay, for opera. Does Traviata fit? Oh, maybe it is just La Traviata. Okay. For some reason in my brain, I thought La Traviata I thought the second word was only 7 letters, but La Traviata looks like it's going to work, doesn't it? So I can now see how this is going to work as well in terms of the wordplay. So artist, very, very important if you're solving these puzzles. If you ever see artist in a clue, always be thinking of R.A. Royal Academician. Believe it or not, a member of the Royal Academy. Let's look it up. R.A. Royal, there it is. Royal Academician. And so R.A. and artist are very much synonymous in cryptic crossword language. So we have to put R.A. in an East European state, that's Latvia. And then the volunteers are the Territorial Army, T.A. That comes up a lot as well. And we put all that together, we get La Traviata, which of course is an opera, one of the few I'm confident enough to say is an opera. Although I actually do think I probably know the names at least of quite a lot of operas. I haven't seen many operas in my life. I've seen a few actually. I saw Turandot at the Sydney Opera House once. It was very good. Right, anyway, I'm getting distracted. 4 down. Render ineffective. Writer with no tips for inspiration. Whenever I see the words like inspiration in a cryptic crossword clue, it's quite an interesting word, because inspiration, we typically would be thinking about something that inspires us, but to inspire is also to breathe. So it could be something to do with breathing, or when I see inspiration, I'm thinking of the muses. Typically, the muse beginning with E that comes up a lot is erato. But render ineffective. Writer with no tips. Ooh, what's that? That suggests we need a word like pencil, and we remove the first and last letters from it. But obviously that felt, no. For inspiration. If you're an inspiration to someone, you are an epitome. I don't know. No, don't know it. Final stage. Okay, so I'm thinking this is imago, which I think is the final stage of an insect's life. So that's as far as my thinking's got. But why is that right? Maybe monthly mag. A magazine is a monthly thing. Entering a moon, Io. Io is, is it the moon of Jupiter? I'm not sure. But Io is certainly a moon. It's a moon not around the Earth, obviously. It's around one of the other planets. So Io goes around mag to give imago. Now let's look up imago. It's not a very common word. Let's have a look. Imago, the last or perfect stage of an insect's development. So I sort of knew what it meant. Now, should we just try 6 down? Loungers. Right, so this is an anagram. I don't know. I don't know beyond that. I'm just seeing scattered in the clue, and I can see resort lie as 9 letters. So loungers, something like layabouts or something. Loiterers. That feels quite right, doesn't it? Loiterers. They're going to be people who lounge. Let's try that one. Nothing original. One. Indeed, in restricting one way. 0 new. Yes, okay. So nothing original. Nothing and the letter O are often synonymous in cryptic crosswords. That is supported by the dictionary. It's not just sort of an idiosyncrasy. If we go to the definition of the letter O, it will say, it says something like anything shaped like an O. In a series and actually it even says in a series of numbers, naught or nothing, so it's completely explicit. And that wasn't what I was looking for. What I was looking for was the next bit, anything round or nearly so. So nothing. It didn't need that, but that's another way you could justify nothing being synonymous with the letter O. Then we've got original. If something's original, it's new. And indeed is another word for yes, and a shortened form of yes might be A-Y, or even A-Y-E. Let's have a look at that. A-Y. What do I need this to mean? Yes. Yes, C-A-Y-E. Yes, indeed. So it's actually completely clear. And obviously in restricting direction, if something is one way, it's obviously restricting direction. Let's try this one. Annexes or small rooms. Clubs let out. I want this to be cellars without C, but obviously that's too many letter cells with O. Well, okay, L's. I think L, E-L, and I think E-double-L, but I might be wrong, is literally the letter L. But it's also, I have the feeling, it is an annex of a building. Because it describes the shape of an annex of a building. So I'm sure this is right. And it's cells for small rooms, not cellars, with clubs taken out. Now, why can clubs be abbreviated to C? Well, that is from bridge notation. So you might see 1C, meaning a bit of 1 clubs. So in fact, I'm not changing the answer. So let's keep up our practice of checking. Okay, so that is same as L1. Oh, an elevated railway. I haven't been able to justify it. That's a worry. Ooh. Hang on, what's going on? I'm sure that an annex is an L. Wow. It doesn't seem to be supported here, does it? That's weird. That's really surprising to me. L. Well, that's fascinating. The dictionary is even suggesting this is. No, I mean, well, if we look at L2, we can see that L2 is the 12th letter, and it is a wing giving a building the shape of the letter, which is almost exactly what I said the definition was. But E double L doesn't refer back to L2. It refers back to the same as L1. Maybe that's just a dictionary fault, actually. But that's quite cool, isn't it? Is the dictionary wrong? I don't know. 12 down. When one's potential had puddings as breakfast sometimes served outside. Must be all something. When one's potentially had all... Oh, I want this to be all ends up or something. Puddings are afters. All after as breakfast sometimes served outside. All Souls Day. That would fit. It's probably something like that, actually. Sometimes you get an all-day breakfast, don't you? As breakfast sometimes, all day, served outside. So I quite like all something day. Oh, whoopsie. But when one's potentially had, it's puddings. All Fool's Day. Ah, it's April Fool's. That's lovely. Okay, that's very clever. So puddings are, as you might have heard of, a gooseberry fool. That's a type of pudding, isn't it? So a fool is a type of pudding. In the plural, fools. All Fool's Day is April the 1st, which is when one's potentially had, in terms of if you're fooled, aren't you? You're conned. So that's a lovely definition. When one's potentially had. But the word puddings, it's hard to cut it in your brain, isn't it? Or at least for me, it's hard to make the cut after the word had. Lovely. Now what's this one? Yellow something? Yellow spot. Antarctic phenomenon. Oh, is that... Oh, not sure. No, it's yellow snow. Is that really an Antarctic phenomenon? I thought that was a joke. Don't eat the yellow snow. Okay, let's... Oh, hang on. Okay, so I can see that the yellow snow is given by the wordplay here. Repeatedly cry in pain. Yell, ow, ow. If you repeatedly cry in pain, you would yell ow twice. Yell, ow, ow. Crossing poles, or the North and South poles, South and North Pole, S and N here, and that gives us an Arctic phenomenon. Sorry, an Antarctic phenomenon, which must be yellow snow. I didn't know that. In fact, let's look it up. We're not going to change the answer again, are we? So let's see if yellow snow, yellow snow, yes. Snow sometimes observed in the Alps and in the Antarctic regions, coloured yellow by the growth on it of certain algae. Good grief. That's really cool. Okay, so that's good, and that gives us an L here. Here in shelter. Okay, I'm going to stop there and just refer to it's a massively common. Basically, I think solving cryptic crosswords is all about, do you have an enormous bank of short synonyms for words? Because if you do, then it's it's fantastically helpful. And shelter, the lee side is the sheltered side of the ship. So I'm thinking lee here. L-E-E is almost certainly involved somehow in the answer to this clue. Here in shelter, remains of beer, dregs or something, and fish. Ooh. Fish is such a terrifying word in a cryptic crossword because there are so many fish. Here in shelter. I mean, it's... No, it's here. Okay. Bizarrely, this is lee side, which is not what I was expecting at all. The lee side is, if you were on the lee side, here in shelter is the definition. So it's saying here you are in shelter. Where would that be? It would be the lee side. So how is the rest of it made up? The remains of beer isn't just the dregs, it's the lees of the beer. L-E-E-S. And a fish, a short synonym for a fish, a type of fish, is an ide. Now there's a lot going on there in terms of nonsenses, isn't there? So let's look up the nonsenses. Lees. Noun, plural noun, sediment, the aging of alcoholic liquor, e.g. wine. Okay, it doesn't specifically mention beer, but I think that's fair enough. And then ide for fish. Yeah, there it is. Also ID, so bear that one in mind. I mean, it doesn't come up often in it would come up in the listener, but to use id or ide for fish is, I think, about as recherche as the Times would get. And then lee side, is that there actually listed? Lee side, the sheltered side. So that's how the clue works. Right, let's try 22. Leave bin for recycling. Looks like an anagram of leave bin. Encouraging one to go green. Lovely. Enviable, I think, rather than enviably. Because it looks like the clue's referring to, it wants you to go green, as in to sort of, agree with Greenpeace or be an eco-warrior. But it doesn't mean that. If you go green, you envy. You go green with envy. So enviable is what the clue's getting at. It's brilliant, actually, that. Leave bin for recycle. That's actually, let me stop there. Because sometimes I think when I read the clues, I don't give enough credit to the constructor. That is an absolutely beautiful clue. Leave bin for recycling is a perfect phrase, and yet it's, we might all have done that, mightn't we? Today we might leave the bin for recycling. And encouraging one to go green is perfect. If you leave the bin leave a real bin for recycling. And yet the whole thing is it has a completely different meaning. That's really clever. That's really clever. Now, okay, well let's keep going with first letters. 23 down. Sponsor, I'm thinking angel. Perspective when raising, yes, it's something like angle with the E raised, isn't it? So a sponsor is an angel. An angel, you might refer to angels in a financial sense. Angels are sort of people who come and rescue companies, invest a load of money in them. So an angel is a sponsor, and then a perspective. If you have a perspective on something, you take an angle on it. You have an angle. An angle. When we raise euro initially, well, euro, it's interesting there's the word initially there, because I think E can be an abbreviation for the currency, the euro. Maybe that's wrong. I would have assumed it could be, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Looks like I am, well, unless it's in a different part of the definitions of E. Let's keep going. There are a lot of them. It's not there, actually, is it? So that's why we need the initially there, because we need to take the initial letter of the word euro. It's not good enough to just have the word euro. Apparently, that doesn't have an abbreviation of E, and we're raising the E in the word angle. So we raise it up one letter. We get angel, which is going to be the answer. G blank D blank gallery gods. To become busy. Oh, goodness me. Okay. I was confused about that because I was reading it and I was thinking, how on earth is the wordplay justified there? Gallery, and the fact there's a gallery called the Gods is not terribly difficult once you have the G and the D. So how does the rest of this work? Well, if you become something, you go it. It's perhaps the first definition one would think of, but it is right. So how is busy DS? Well, if any of you watch Endeavour or the Morse Detective Sergeant, a detective sergeant, a DS, is a busy. Busy is a word for a sort of superintendent, isn't it? Or a detective, literally. Let's check that, but it's definitely right. So busy, a detective, there it is. Noun, slang, a detective. So that's why DS is out there as a synonym with busy. Right, let's try 15 down. With stone foundation, Greek castles compete to be most up to date. With stone foundation. Okay, I don't know what this is yet, but I know how it ends. It ends like this. The way I've got that is I was thinking of the word compete, and to compete is to vie, V-I-E. And then I was thinking with stone foundation. Well, I know ST is an abbreviation for stone, so if I give this expression a stone foundation, a stone base, I can put ST at the end, and that gives us a lovely ending, Vist, which makes me think to be the most up-to-date is the definition. Now, Greek, grooviest. Oh, lovely. It's grooviest. It's grooviest for a beautiful reason. So Greek can be GR. Let's justify everything today. GR. Greece. I think GR can be Greek as well. Yeah, there we go. Greek. Castles. Well, what on earth, you might be saying? I mean, if you're not a chess fan, this will seem ridiculous. But castles, why? Well, if you're in chess notation, 0-0 is the castle on the king's side. I think, is it 0-0-0 is the castle on the queen's side? Or something like that. So castles, literally, it can be abbreviated to 00. I love that. Okay, so now it looks like we've probably got an ing ending here. Actually, that would be interesting with this 4 down. Let's try and see if that looks right. German city, okay. Good beer. It's going to be something Berg, isn't it? Heidelberg. It's an anagram. So good can be G. Beer I held. So G, beer I held, is all brewed up. So it's sort of anagrammed. And German city then can be Heidelberg, I think. Okay, and that gives us a much less useful letter at the end of 4 down. Right, but we get another starting letter at 14 down. 2 a.m. outside near home, so-called guest house. Dormy, I was thinking. 2 a.m. outside near home. There's a lot going on there. So-called guest house. I haven't got a clue. I mean, I think it means guest house, but what's the question mark doing? And why? What is 2 a.m.? 2 could be duo. A.m. outside near home. I don't know. It's a very clever clue, actually, because I really have no idea how to read it. Let's actually try this one, because this would give us the first letter. Sometimes 3-letter answers are quite gettable. Whistler's mother. I'm thinking Whistler's mother was an oil painting. I'm thinking oil. Above shelf when last viewed. Ooh. That's great. That's great. Love it. Okay, so, and this is, I think, the quintessential trick
the cryptic crossword setters love to play on you. We've already seen it earlier in the puzzle. Where was it? When one's potentially had, where we had to split the clue in what seems a completely unnatural place. And we've got it here again, because if you're familiar with the painting Whistler's Mother, then seeing Whistler's Mother in the clue and splitting it in half just doesn't feel natural. But we have to do it, because the definition here is whistler. Somebody who whistles. Somebody who whistles in a sporting context is a referee. And that's the answer, because mother, if you take the last view, the last letters of the word mother, above, and shelf, you would spell out REF, which is a referee. Isn't that good? That's really clever. So let's try 27, beginning with F now. Kitty. Kitty and I agree. Kitty and I agree to agree, in essence. Fundamentally. Oh yeah, it's going to be that, because a kitty is a fund. Fundamentally. Okay, let's try and understand why. So fund is a kitty. And I agree, amen. If you say amen, you'd be saying I agree. And then that agrees in the sense it tallies. Oh, that's great. Fund, amen, and tally. Agree to agree. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, I like that very much as well. And if something's in essence, it's fundamentally. So 21 down. African language. Oh, that's quite a terrifying one, isn't it? Speakers exposed by article. Article is probably the indefinite article, the A. Speaker, if we see that in a cryptic crossword clue, it's almost always indicating a homophone. So we need to think of a word for exposed. We need to spell it differently to how it sounds to give ourselves an African language to go in here. That's horrible. I don't know that at all. Right, let's try 20 across. Pets left aboard vessel coming west. Okay, I've got this. Okay, so again, I mean, it's a tricky clue in the sense you see a word like pet, and it's very hard for your brain, or at least my brain, not to think about dogs and cats. But it's not that. If you have a pet, you're in a tantrum, and another word for a tantrum is a strop. So pets are strops. How does the clue work then? Well, left aboard a vessel, but we don't actually have to. We actually have to split it after the word left. Left is the port side of the ship, and we put a word for left, i.e. port, aboard a vessel. Well, a vessel is an SS. So I think it's steamship, isn't it? It might be. It might have other. Steamship. There we go. Also a screw steamer, apparently, whatever that is. So we put port in SS, and that all goes west, so it's reversed. It's an across clue, so something going west would be a reversal, and that gives us strops. Okay, so now we need an African language. Exposed. Shown. It is Shona. Gosh. Okay, shown, SHOWN. If something was shown, it would be exposed. And if we spell that differently, but say it the same, shown, SHON, add the A at the end, we get Shona. And I'm almost certain Shona is an African language, only because I've seen it before. No other reason. In fact, let's check. I'm not changing the answer, so let's see. Shona, there we go. Living in the south of the Zambezi. I have whitewater rafted on the Zambezi. Twice, in fact. And it was terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Any language, a literary language designed, so yeah, clearly a language, clearly an African language. 24. Track crossing river. I'm okay. I haven't got this, so I'm not sure. Oh, it's going to be trampolines used to exercise on. I was about to tell you that I thought track might be to tail somebody, and I could see tail going around R to give trail, and that felt like quite a nice opening for this word. But now I'm seeing one used to exercise on. I think it must be trampoline. I haven't quite understood why. Let's put trampoline in. Let's see if we can justify it. So track. I still can't do it. Hang on. Track crossing river. River can be R at its most. I mean, oh no, it's tram line crossing the river. Po. Oh, that's vicious. Okay. Po is a river, and tram line, I think, is being used as a synonym for track. So we put tram line around Po, we get trampoline, which is something that you might use to exercise. That's very hard. Now, what is that then? Something man? Drago man, I wanted to say, but that's missing that. Dragon man? No. 2 a.m. So-called guest house. What? What's going on there? This might be why this puzzle's very difficult, because there could be one very difficult entry. 2 a.m. outside near home, so-called guest house. Outside near. What's near doing in this clue? Near, I think, can be NR. Home is typically in. And maybe it ends in. I don't think I know this word, if that's right. 2. 2 makes me think of dual or duo. And then AM, maybe that's the M of AM. Outside near, though. Oh, no, it doesn't feel good. Something's near. Close. So-called guest house. I don't know. I think we're going to have to get this. Spare list. Oh. So when you see clues like this, we're going to have to think of a word that means spare and a word that means list. I'm thinking list is, if something lists, it tilts like heel. To list is to, if something's spare, it's thin. That doesn't feel good, does it? I'm not sure I know that one either. Right, visiting pub. Overheard barristers. Something bar? I'm thinking like inner bar or something. Is it inner temple, isn't there? Visiting pub over inner. Actually, I quite like inner bar because it's a homophone again. If you're in a bar, in a bar, you would be visiting the pub. But if you we're overhearing that, so we can spell it differently. We get inner bar, which I think must be like the inner temple or something. So what's this then? Render ineffective. Writer with no tips for inspiration. Oh, what is that? Ooh, I have no clue at the moment. At least we've got all the checking letters. Render writer with no tips. I mean, is that like for inspiration? It's the name of a muse. It's like Euterpe or something. I think it might be that. It might be that. I'm not sure of the spelling. I think there is a muse from the Greek myths called something like this. Right, why is this right? Neuter. Okay, yeah, that's right. Neuter pen is what I'm going to say. So if to render ineffective is to neuter something. A writer is a pen, as in a physical pen. So neuter pen. We remove the tips of that phrase, neuter pen. We cut off the first and the last letter. We get euterpe, which I'm definitely not changing that because I think that's justified now. So let's see whether euterpe is a muse. There we go. The muse of music and lyric poetry. Wow. Okay, I'm quite pleased that I got that. Let's try 8 across. Way later, I would add something to distract attention. Okay, so this is one of these funny words that cryptic crossword setters love to include in their puzzles because it's got no vowels in it. So this is the word psst, like that. What you might say to somebody if you're trying to copy their paper. Psst, can I see? So how does it work? How does the wordplay work? Way, if you see that in a cryptic crossword, it's almost always referring to a road, which it can be abbreviated to an RD or an ST. So that's this ST here. And because that is later than an expression which I would add something. Now, if you're writing a letter and you think at the end I'd add something, you would write PS. So PS, and then later on we put ST, we get psst, which is a way of attracting attention. So what's this then? Disinterest. Disinterest would work in terms of something dull. You dig up from the past, possibly. I'm going to put disinterest in just because it fits. And let's try and understand it. So, why? You dig up from the past. Disinter. To disinter is to dig up. Evidence of something dull. What? I don't understand the end. It's something like disinterest, isn't it? Disinter. You dig up from the past, possibly evidence. Disinter. I mean, how can it not be disinterest? It must be. There's no other ending. We can't put anything else at the end of disinter. Disintermit. Disintermit? Is that a word? I don't think so. It probably is now. I've said that. Disinter. You dig up. There's a big explosion outside. That's a bit worrying. Disinter. Evidence of something dull. Something dull. Dig up. You dig up from the past, possibly. I don't understand what the EST is doing at the end of this. But it feels right, both in terms of the fact I've got the disinter in there, which is a word obviously to disinter. If you disinter a body, you dig it up. And disinterest is certainly evidence of something dull. I'm just worried there's some other ending here that I'm not thinking of. And the E for this one, lean. Ah, it's lean. Okay, great. Okay, this is one of these ones that's. I know Mark is. This is probably the clue type he is most fearful of. A 4-letter answer, so you only get 2 of the letters. You typically get rubbish letters as the checking letters, like we had an E here. I mean, if we were to look in like software like T for how many words there were that fitted the pattern, 4 letters long with an E second, I bet you there are an awful lot. And we're looking for a word that means spare and a word that means list. I mean, sometimes your brain can just get trapped in a fog and it will never tell you the right answer. But I think lean, obviously it means spare, as in thin, and then to list is to lean, as in to tilt. So 14 down is the key to this, isn't it? And as I'm looking at it, my brain is telling me no words that I know that fit in there. I don't know. I don't know. That is a weird word. 2 a.m. outside near. Okay. Near could be NR now. Something room. Then maybe it's that. Duo could be, so done room. Oh, I don't like this. AM. Okay, what about this word then? Done roaming. Okay, so let me explain how I'm getting that, which I am not confident about at all. 2 a.m. 2 I think is a duo. D-U-O. AM is plain text, AM. So duo AM represents 2 a.m. That goes outside an abbreviation for near, NR. So far, so good. A word for home is in. So that all gives us done roaming, which if that was in some way a guest house, that's perfectly justified, isn't it? I'm going to go for that on the basis that I love the wordplay, the way that works. I've never heard this word. I've no idea what it is. In fact, no, let's take the risk. We'll submit. Oh, I've got to submit without the leaderboard, don't I, when I do this? Because otherwise it skews all the snitch ratings. Yay! Okay, it's right. So let's go and have a look and see if the dictionary, it might be something from a book. Oh no, see, it's not in. Done roaming. Yeah, so we're going to have to go off and scout the internet to understand. It's probably something from a book. Let's go back 14 down. 2 a.m. outside. So-called guest house. Done roaming. How much ignorance am I showing by? I really don't know that. I mean, I don't think oh no, I'm not even going to say that. That's just going to embarrass me further. So there were many interesting things. There were some fabulous clues in that. There's the controversy around 16 across and whether the dictionary's wrong. And there's an answer that, there's two answers. I couldn't fully justify disinterest, and I don't know the reference for done roaming. But thank goodness we could understand the wordplay well enough to actually get the answer. And there's trampoline gods there spelt out across was that the 11th row or something. I don't know who trampoline gods are. That was me once upon a time many years ago. No longer, alas. Let me know in the comments whether you had a go at the puzzle. Let me know how many you got before me. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And also, please try and teach the YouTube algorithm that there is a world for, or there is an appetite or demand for cryptic crossword videos like this. That would be most kind. If you do enjoy it, maybe try and like it or something, or subscribe. That would help. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.